Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Hey, Damian.
Hey, 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 everyone.
So, I'm Angela Hooper-Menifield, and this is Damian Johnson. And today we're stepping a little bit out of our BEI zone and, recapture your focus and speakers club and radio show host and all those other things you've come to know us about. Because today we want to talk a little bit about sales. And this is a big topic for me because I'm just going to be honest with you guys. For years, sales was like my Achilles heel. And so today we thought it would be really good just to come to you and talk about sales. Now,
Everyone. Good
I'll
afternoon.
have the
Hey,
approach
hey, hey.
of talking about sales from the context of somebody who used to struggle, who's gotten a lot better. But I've brought with me someone who I consider a sales guru. So, Damian, because some people may not really know about you and your sales background. So, tell us just firstly, how do you feel about sales?
I love sales. I think sales is the most fun, the most lucrative, the most exciting, and the most integrous way that you can help someone. Honestly, I do. Sorry, there, I was just starting my watch party. Didn't mean to be distracted. But yeah, so Angela, I love sales, and I've been doing sales for about 20 years now. And what's interesting is that when I got into sales from an investment banking background. When I got out of college, my degree is in business and finance, and I went off to go be an investment banker. Thought I was going to be a rainmaker, and I hated the job. Made good money, but I hated the job. At least what I thought was good money at the time. And I remember just being so disheartened that the only time I felt some joy around that job is when it was payday. And so when I got my first sales opportunity, I recognized that part of the reason I loved it is because it allowed me to utilize my analytical skills, but it also allowed me to use my personal skills because I love people. I love conversations. I love interacting. I love connecting. I love understanding what makes them tick. And I think it's that sort of natural curiosity about me that has made me have such a prosperous sales career. So I spent about 15 years in the mortgage banking world. I have literally sold billions of dollars worth of mortgage products and
Excuse
have.
me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Did you say billions as in a B?
Oh yeah, for sure. Billions of dollars worth of mortgage products. Absolutely. No, no, no doubt about it. Now, so now
I'm just
obviously that means
verifying.
that's a lot of conversations, right? Because it's not like you can sell them wholesale. This is one person at a time, conversation after conversation. And it's funny because I've had a couple of some of my old mortgage guys reach out to me because right now is a very lucrative time in the mortgage world because rates are low and home prices are going up. Everybody has equity, so people want to refinance and cash out and refinance and lower their rate. So if you've got a rate on your mortgage, you should take a look at that right now. But anyway, so I enjoyed a very prosperous sales career in the mortgage space, and then after I left the mortgage space, I spent some time and currently do on the John Maxwell team sales side, and I am listen. I can tell you it, with as much humility as I can muster. I have enjoyed every bit of that role. I have enrolled more than I think it's probably more than 540 people in the John Maxwell team in 3 years. Matter of fact, this is an award that I received. You probably can't read the words on it, but it says 2019, the Rainmaker Award. So highest group sales sold. So in addition to selling people on a one-to-one basis, I've also done corporate group sales as well. And I love that because there is something about being able to ethically influence someone to take a step that they need to take to accomplish their goals that gives me a sense of fulfillment. But make no mistake about it, if you do well in sales, sky is the limit in terms of income. There is no ceiling on the amount of money you can make if you can master sales. And that's whether you're working sales inside of a company or whether you are an entrepreneur. And by the way, for those of you entrepreneurs out there, those of you speaker, teacher, trainer, coaches, right? Those of you that are building a business, if you have a business you are automatically in sales. So if you have this aversion to sales, let me tell you, you're going to struggle, because I don't know how you make any kind of money without being able to influence someone to take that next step with you, right? And the thing is, Angela, that most people don't even realize that we're involved in sales conversations all the time. Every single day I have a sales conversation with my daughter when she doesn't want to eat her vegetables. Somebody's going to influence someone. She's either going to convince me that she doesn't need to eat it, or I'm going to convince her that she needs to eat it, right? But we
Okay,
have
so
this
I love that
interaction
analogy.
all the
Love
time.
it. Look,
Sorry,
and let me
you
talk
get
about
me
my
wound up.
nieces, right?
You can tell it's my passion zone, because I get to talking and I can't stop. But anyway, let me give you a chance to talk to me.
Well, Damian. So, full disclosure,
Hmm.
I was one of those people. So, I got into this. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to help people. I want to have a business game. And, in the beginning, oftentimes you get a little traction and you think you're doing something, but then all of a sudden you hit a plateau.
Hmm.
And what I found really quickly was I was able to build rapport. I was able to identify their need. I was even able to have them walk away feeling as if, as well, we had had a really great conversation. But when I got home or hung up the phone or ended the networking event, whatever it was, more times than not, I didn't have the sale.
Hmm.
And so one of the things that you really helped me with, and I spent a short stint too, doing sales for the John Maxwell team, was I wasn't asking for it, right? Like I would do everything up to, because something, I don't know, it was like it got caught right here in my throat, the words like, the next step.
Hmm.
Because we tell ourselves, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be salesy, and all these other things. And I've heard business owners even use the phrases like, I don't like sales. And now, having worked with you, Cedric, so many others on the BEI side, of course, all the training I've gotten from Paul Martinelli, and then this content, right, as
Hmm.
executive directors that we have in the Maxwell method of sales, it has helped me tremendously. So
Yeah.
what would you say? And guys, put your questions in the Q&A, right? Like, what are some of the hangups you're having with sales? Because right now we have in front of us a sales guru, right? But Damian, what would you say to people who are like me, who were afraid to ask for the sale?
So all right. So let's go a couple of steps before that, okay? So when you think about sales, when you say, okay, sales and a salesperson, what ideas typically come to your mind? Do you see in
Car
your mind
salesman.
the used car salesman, right? The guy who's gonna sell you a car, you're gonna drive it off the lot, it's gonna break down on you. It's gonna sell you a lemon, right? And a lot of people have these sort of hang-ups around sales. And the primary thing to understand is that sales is about attitude and it's about mindset. But at its core level, at its lowest level, sales is about the transfer of emotion. A lot of people don't
Mm.
recognize that. And I was in sales for years before I understood that. I didn't even understood why I was selling so well. It's because when you are in sales, you are transferring emotion. Now, what kind of emotion? The primary emotion is certainty. Somebody should write that down, right? Sales is about the transfer of emotion, and the primary emotion is certainty. So the way that you get to yes is that the person has to have certainty. Certainty in what? Certainty in the product that you're selling. But not just that, they have to have certainty in you as the salesperson. Sometimes the reason that people don't buy is because they might like the product, but they're not so sure about you. You're not coming
Mm.
across right. Let me give you a perfect example, Angela. So you know as well as I do that I now have three kids at home, four total, but three little ones, right? And so
Yes.
my wife and I are because I have a 4-year old, a 2-year old, and now a 2-month old. So my wife and I are now in the market for a minivan. Don't judge me, but it's hard to get three car seats in a car, right? We have an SUV, and the three car seats don't fit anymore, and I got to climb in through the back. And look, I'm not trying to do all that. So I'm in the market. We're in the market for specifically we're looking for a Chrysler Pacifica, right? So we
Okay, so
find
very specific.
Yeah, well, that's what she wants. And you know what mama wants, mama's gonna get. I'm gonna get it for her, right? So
Okay.
so we now venture down to this place a little bit south of Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live, and we find one. We find it in Rock Hill. We get there, we take a look at the vehicle. It meets all the specifications that I have. The price is right. It has the right mileage, all of that stuff. So we said, all right, let's go home and think about it. Now I had already prearranged the financing with the credit union, right? And
Hmm.
so the next day we pick up the phone to call the sales guy. I pick up the phone to call the sales guy. Now I didn't tell him that I was in sales because I thought he did a great job. I was like, let me let him put all his cards on the table. But I decided I was going to do business with the guy. When I pick up the phone to call the guy, when he answers the phone, right, and I say, hey, such and such, this is Damian and Kendra. And here's his response to me. Now I'm calling you back after I came to visit with you. Here's what he says to me. He says, well, did you change your mind? What?
Oh no.
You're trying to sell
No.
me a vehicle and I am calling you back. And the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, did I change my mind? So what do you think that did? That broke rapport with me because now you planted a seed of doubt that was not there before. Now I got to wonder, well, should I be changing my mind? And ultimately, I ended up walking away from the deal. But it was because he planted that seed of doubt. I was ready to go. I was ready to bring the check down, had the bill of sale, everything take care. And so it's little things that you say that can break rapport, that can cast doubt. A person, for them to buy from you, they must have certainty. They must have certainty in your product. They must have certainty in you as a salesperson, and they also need to have certainty in in the company and the brand that you represent, that you can deliver, that after they've made the transaction and when they try to get in touch with you, they're not going to have buyer's remorse because they're going to end up with something that they don't want. You got to transfer certainty. And by the way, if you're not asking for the business, that is a sign that you are not certain. Because if you believe in what you're selling, if you believe in what you're offering, you should be asking for the business. If you really want to help someone with your product or your service, you should be asking them to buy, and they should be buying from you. And if you're not approaching it with that level of enthusiasm that this can change their life and you want it for them, you're not communicating the right energy. You're not transferring certainty. So the first thing I would say, to go back to your question, is that sales is about attitude and mindset, and you have to have that inner belief that you're coming from a place of helping someone. You're coming from a place of serving them. If you know you're not out to rip anybody off, and the product you're selling is first of all, you shouldn't be selling something that's not going to help someone anyway. Let's just get that straight, right? But provided that you're providing a good service of good value to the person, you should be passionate about it, and you should be offering it, and you should be asking them to buy. Now, there's a big difference between a sales conversation and a nice conversation. That's why some people in sales, they get frustrated because they've been nice and they've been having this good conversation. Listen, there are some people in the world that are tire kickers. They will take your time and you will have a nice conversation. They say, oh, no, you've got to ask them to buy. You got to ask them to buy if you want the business. So the first thing you got to do is you got to eliminate all signs of weakness from you. You've got to be fortified. As a salesperson, you need to be 100% bulletproof in your belief in what you're offering, and that you are the person to help that person achieve their goals and to solve their problem. Let me stop.
Look,
You
the
might not want to ask me any more questions.
look, look. I'm like, oh, okay. No, let's just say that sales is definitely something Damien is passionate about. But Damien, I gotta believe that other people are having this as a question because it popped in my mind as I was watching you. You're like Mr. Personality, right? Like, I jokingly tease you about my little nieces, right? Because I'm like, they got big personalities, but who's their daddy, right? I mean, you have a big personality. What about the people more like me that, I can do this, but I'm not as passionate about sales and my personality is not as big, right? Like, or as fun and as engaging. And I'm aware of it. So it's not that I'm saying it's a bad thing. It's just the reality of we're built differently.
Yeah.
But what would you say to someone who feels as if, yeah, Damien, that's easy for you to say. How do I get that strong and passionate about, making that offer?
Yeah. So the first thing that I would say is this, Angela, is that sales is a learnable skill. Now, if you tell yourself that you're not good at sales, and guess what? You're reinforcing a limiting belief, and it's going to be difficult for you to be good at sales. I told you when I came into sales, I came in from an investment banking background. So I wasn't selling anything when I got into sales, right? I was doing analysis. I used to do bank analysis, these huge credit packages that I would do to get money for other banks. And so I had to learn it, and I had some very good trainers. And the thing about it is that once you understand the fundamentals, and there are some fundamentals that you do need to learn, like for example, you need to learn about the importance of attitude, because that's how you communicate certainty. You have to understand and prepare for the sales conversation. Every type of sales follows a certain type of process, and you need to understand what the sales process is and how to enter into the sales conversation. You need to understand the difference between what is a feature of your product and what is a benefit. People don't buy features, they buy benefits. So you have to understand, when you have a conversation with someone and discover what they need, being able to tie the benefit of the product back to the customer. Let me give you another example of that. Okay, so last September, um, this is funny because it seems like we end up with news about having babies around September. But my family and I, we were taking a cruise, okay,
Are
and
you
so
preparing us for next month, by the way?
no, ma'am, no, ma'am. My wife has to sleep in the other room because can't have no more babies right now. But check this out. Check this out. So there was a we my father was having his 75th birthday, and so my cousins and I, we planned for a cruise for him and his twin brother. So my dad's a twin, okay, and so we booked with Carnival. And then shortly after we booked the Carnival, here comes one of the sales guys calling me, trying to upsell me on taking a suite. Right now, I didn't tell him that I was a matter of fact. I did tell him that I was a sales guy. I said, "Look, I'm going to make the decision quickly. I just need you to give me bottom line." And he kept running me around the flagpole, trying to sell me on the bigger bathroom, and in fact, it's going to have a jacuzzi tub. And if you've ever been inside of a cruise ship, there's no such thing as a big bathroom. Okay, so so I was telling him that, listen, the primary hesitation with us booking this cruise and really going forward, because we're not even sure if we're really going to do it, is that we have little kids, and my wife is terrified that they're going to fall overboard. Okay. Now, I had just expressed to him what my primary hesitation was and what my concern was, right? And you know what this guy did? He kept trying to sell me on the benefits of the larger room and of the bigger bathtub, but I didn't care about any of that. What did I care about, Angela? Tell me.
Safety for your children, and
Exactly.
probably a way to even entertain them because they're small.
Exactly. So you're exactly right. So, but he didn't do that. And I had to break it down to him like three different times. And I almost hung up the phone on him because I said, this guy doesn't get it. You keep telling me about benefits that it's not a benefit to me because it doesn't solve my problem. So in sales, it's one thing to tell a customer about the feature of what you're offering. It's another thing to help them understand the benefit to them. And that's where so many salespeople miss it, is that they're so busy presenting the features. Oh, the car has power doors and sunroof and all that. But at the end of the day, if I'm looking for three car seats, I need a car that is gonna accommodate that. So anyway, back to my story. So after three times of telling the guy that you're not helping me right now, I said, talk to me about the balcony. Talk to me about the balcony and how my kids are going to be safe. And finally, at the tail end of the conversation, he tells me, well, sir, there's a plexiglass there. So there's no way for them to slip through anything. It's plexiglass. And the moment he said that, the deal was done. Because finally he was able to speak to my pain point and speak to my concern. See, most people try to sell people on trying to help them accomplish a desire. The real secret sauce is that you got to discover what my pain is. What is my problem? Because guess what? When I have a toothache, I'm not thinking about how much money it's going to take to get rid of the toothache. Get me to the dentist right now. And so the trick is to, not the trick, but the strategy is to tie your benefits to as a solution to the problem that the customer has, not necessarily talking about the features. Do you have any idea how many people join the John Maxwell team because they need community? And sometimes some of our program advisors, they're so busy talking about, oh, we've got this amazing content and these teaching calls and this and this and this. But what's the person's pain point? Are they going through a transition where they need to feel the love of a community? Do they need the support of a team? Do you have any idea how many people have bought the John Maxwell team, have nothing to do, have enrolled in the John Maxwell team with nothing to do with the actual assets that we have, but they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves? And if
Yes.
you're not listening, see, I'm doing a lot of talking right now because I'm kind of in teacher, speaker, trainer mode right now. But one of the things that we have to understand is that sales is about active listening. So for those of you that are coaches, this will help you. You understand that there's a level 1 listening and there's a level 2 listening, right? So we've got to listen, what I call listen between the lines. Listen to what the person's saying, but what are they not saying? Right? And as you begin to probe and ask questions, listen, because ultimately, if you ask the right series of questions, a person will tell you exactly what you need to know to be able to effectively lead them to the sale. But if you're so busy trying to communicate and talk, you miss the buying signals, you miss the cues, you miss the pain points, and ultimately you end up trying to sell them with features instead of the benefits that solve their problem. So these are all things that you can learn, but these are the fundamental building blocks, right? There's also things like closing techniques. There's only a certain set of objections in any sales encounter that you're going to have. Let me talk about it with my spouse, or it isn't the right time, or I don't have the money, or let me think about there's a certain set of objections. And in sales, no matter what it is that you're selling, you have to be prepared for those objections, because you could do everything right and they're still going to give you an objection. And what an objection really is, Angela, it's a smoke screen for uncertainty. When a person gives you an objection, it's not because they don't want to buy your stuff. And that's where some salespeople get it off, because they feel like, well, they give me an objection, that's a no. A no is a yes waiting to happen. A no is a request for more information. A no says, I don't understand and you need to educate me more. It's a no is never just a flat out no. And when you understand that, then you say that, you know what, the reason why this person is telling me this is because they still are not certain. So let me go back and let me figure out how to build up certainty about my product, certainty about myself, certainty about the brand. And all of these things are fundamentals that a person can learn. But if you're gonna be successful, you do need to learn it. Does that make sense? They're building blocks, but you can learn it.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. So we got a couple of comments here, Damian. Somebody wants to know, and Marlon wants to know, any books that would you make any suggestions towards particular books on sales?
Yeah, so one book that I love is called Coaching the Sale, and I forget the author. I don't have it at my fingertips. It's called Coaching the Sale. Okay. Another book is I forget where this is. It's called Magic Words. But that has to do with principles of influence. Another book that I would recommend, don't get me on books now, Marlon, because I'm start rattling them off. Robert Cialdini's work on Dr. Robert Cialdini, his book on influence.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Absolute gold. Matter of fact, I think any person that's in any kind of sales, you should have that book on your bookshelf, because it's evidence-based, it's research-based studies on triggers that prompt us to buy. And so I think when you understand that, like for example, one of the reasons why, so in sales, one of the things that you always try to do is you try to get your customer to say yes multiple times, right? You want to use titles. You want to get them in the habit of saying yes, because there's a concept in Robert Cialdini's book about consistency and commitment, right? So when a person has been saying yes a certain amount of times, they don't want to seem inconsistent with what they've displayed before. So the more times you can get a person to say yes, the better the chance that you will be able to get them to buy what it is, to take your offer, when you get them in that sort of pattern. Another thing is social proof, right? So think about it. When you go to Amazon to buy anything, what's the first thing that you do when you're looking at a product?
I look at the reviews.
Or look at the reviews. Why? Because you want to know that you're not alone. As human beings, we have a herd mentality. We want to know what other people's experiences has been. And so being able to have things like testimonials, that's why on any sales page, go back and look now, you're going to always see testimonials. Why? Because we want to know that we're not the only person that has made this decision and be able to feel good about it. But so there are other principles, right? Like there's a principle of reciprocity. So that's why givers gain. So there's all kinds of strategies
Are you
there that
talking
you
about
can learn
BNI
about.
language now?
There you go giver, right? So Marlon, I would say again,
Well,
magic
now you
word.
know my little favorite one is exactly what to say.
That's the
That
book I'm
little
talking
book,
about. That's
that
the book.
that little book for me was like a game changer because it was an
Mhm.
easy read, and I've done Cialdini and some of those other ones, but exactly what to say. I recently recommended it to some people on a call just last week. I was doing. So, Damian, let's, because we've been on for about 25 minutes, and thank you guys for watching. Damian's clearly adding value. So one of the things that we both know, and that's as coaches and as business owners and people who mentor, that sales is still the sticking point for most people. And so while this Facebook Live today is really awesome, and we're having a conversation and we're getting people to think through it. One of the things that I just so love about some of the things we do get to do as members of the John Maxwell team is we get to bring to offer to people the Maxwell method of selling, right? Like what that looks like. And so in conjunction with both of our, Damian, you got a lot of fans, by the way. So look, I got to start popping up some of these comments. When we first started, look, Barbara Littles was like, "Oh, what she told me? She said I brought the real deal on today." So, so you got your fans are here, right? so, but but what we know is, there, like you said, these are learned skills. And so
Mhm.
Damian and I, because we work so well together and have for years and are good friends, and again, he's helped me tremendously. I've, been able to craft emails in a way, because some of our communications with people with proposals and things like that are in emails. And some of this awareness has helped me improve my close rate like tremendously. And Damian mentioned it. It's like the verbiage. So often in responses to people, we'll say things like, "Well, let me know if you have any problems. Let me know if there's anything wrong." Why would you're planting seeds that is there a problem? Is there a reason? Instead of now using phrases like, "So here's the proposal. I can start next week." There's different
Mhm.
languaging, because if there's a problem, they'll tell you anyway, right? I mean, you don't have to prompt them with that word. But I say all that to say, as Damian said, these are all learnable skills. So Damian and I together, one, because I bring a little of the structure and the
I'm the loose cannon.
well, and especially over things you love, right? And this is your sweet spot. But we're gonna do a free webinar, really, on, or kind of like a teaching on sales, because
Mhm.
we really want to help more people. But again, his time is valuable, my time is valuable. So if you think this would be something that you or somebody could find valuable, if we decide to put that together, tell us in the comments that yes, I would love to sit in on a free teaching on sales, beyond a Facebook Live, where you can really ask your questions. We can do Zoom or whatever. We can see you, you can see us, our PowerPoints, get some handouts, but really get you in that space where we can help you. So again, if you think this is something that would benefit you, definitely let us know directly on this post, this video. If you're watching the replay, share it to your page, see if you got any friends, if you got people, you got a team, that could use some help in this space. We want to be able to help you. So Damian, why would what would you tell someone who says, "Well, I'll just read a book and that'll help me," versus coming to a webinar or something more hands-on? What would you say to that?
So you can only play the way that you practice, right? There's a whole lot of
Mm,
people could read about basketball, could read about football, could read about baseball. Can you get onto the field? Can you get onto the court and score? Can you get onto the court and perform? So you could read a book. Matter of fact, I recommend that you read a book. But then you got to know how to apply it. And then I think that if anytime that you can close, anytime that you want to learn a skill, the fastest way to close the gap is by getting a mentor, getting someone that's ahead of you, that's been there, that's done that, that has results that you would like to have in your life, to show you the ins and outs and the way to apply the theory, because there is some theory to it, but then how do you make it live and breathe in the real world? I've already told you that there's certain things that you just got to know. You got to understand how to prepare for a sales conversation. You got to understand features and benefits. You got to understand how to handle objections. You got to understand how to make an effective sales pitch. How do you know why people have that bad perception about sales, Angela? It's because they've experienced salespeople that don't know how to make a pitch elegantly, that don't know how to sell without the person that's being sold feeling like they're being sold. There's a way to do that so that it comes across as we're friends and I'm helping you get what you want, right? And in the process
Mm-hmm.
of that, I'm going to get your business because I'm the natural. There's an elegant way to move someone into a closing. And if you don't know that, it's going to always feel like this slimy, uncomfortable interaction. And when you have that energy, guess what? You're going to, energy, all it does is it expresses itself, it expresses itself, and it expands. So if you've got that sort of icky energy, guess what you're going to do? You're expressing that either verbally or non-verbally to the person that you're interacting with. And they will pick upon that, even if it's not at the conscious level, at the subconscious level, they'll just be able to say, I don't know about that guy. Something was a little bit off. So you got to understand how to prepare to make an effective and elegant sales pitch, right? Where they love you. Most of the people that I've done business with, I would say probably 98% of the people that I've done business with, they love me and they would happily send me their referrals, right? It's because they know that I'm selling something because I'm asking them for the business, but I'm not treating it like a sale. I'm not handling them like a transaction. So there's a way to elegantly move people into the close so that you get the business and they feel good about it and it feels like a partnership, not like like us versus them, right? And then you have to understand the strategy of following up because most of the money in sales is made through follow up. So you got to build up that persistence muscle. You can't just give up after the first no. That's when your job starts, is when you get the first no. So all I'm saying, friends, is that you could read a book, or you could come and you could learn and get insight and get practical strategies from people who have been there, done that. Listen, I have no trouble telling you, I am good at sales. If I don't know anything else, matter of fact, right now, let me take my glasses off, right? So you already know when the glasses come off. If I don't know anything, I know sales, and I have coached lots and lots of salespeople to higher levels of productivity. And if you want better results, I guarantee you, the lunch and learn that we're gonna do, the webinar that we're gonna do on sales is gonna teach you how to increase your sales influence. Angela, John Maxwell says that leadership is influence. Well, my friends, here's what I'm going to tell you. Sales is all about influence. Are you influencing your prospect, your potential client, to the place where they see you as the only logical solution to solve their problem? And if you don't know how to increase that influence, you're missing out on business that you should have. And even worse than that, there are people that need your help that are passing on the opportunity to work for you because you are ill-informed. And listen, I want to help you close the gap. We want to help you close the gap. And so I tell you what, if you're interested in that, if you want to learn how to sell more effectively without this slimy, icky feeling, then let us know in the comments that you want to come to the webinar. We'll send you the invitation so you can private message us, you can email us, you can text us, you can comment on this feed. Even if you're watching the replay, we'll check it. But we want to be able to serve you and help you increase your profit, because at the end of the day, if you're selling something, it's because you want to provide a service, but you also need to take care of your responsibilities. And who couldn't use an extra sales? If you could come to this webinar and it increases your closing ratio by 10%, what would that do for your income on a monthly basis? Better yet, what would it do for your income on an annual basis? And really, if you dig in and you play full out with us, like you come ready to play full out, not with reservations, but you come and say, you know what, I'm going to get the goal from us, and you're going to get the goal. We're going to make it easy for you to have it. But what if your sales closing ratio could increase to 20%? What if it increased by 30%? That could be easily another $50,000, another $100,000 in your bank account, right? And what would that do for your self-confidence? What would that do for your self-esteem? What would that do for your family? For you to be able to close more, to be able to take some of the pressure off, to just be able to have that
Yes.
peace. That's what we want for you. So if you're interested in improving your sales, if you haven't been getting the results that you want, if you want to work with people that care about you enough to ensure that you walk away with everything that you need and maybe some of what you don't even realize that you need, then let us know and come to the webinar. You'll be glad you did.
Well, all right. I don't have anything to say after that. Look, I'm ready to sign up for the webinar. And I'm thinking, as far as I've come, that's the other thing, right? There's always, further we can go. So one of the reasons why Damian is as good as he is at sales is because he doesn't stop learning. He hasn't told himself, oh, I got it all. My numbers are pretty good. He realizes there's always something else he can learn and another way that he can improve. And so as a result of that, he gets better and better. And so again, it doesn't matter what type of business you're in, if you're in a nonprofit, if you're in a for-profit, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a service or you need people to do something, as Damian gave the analogy earlier, it could be something as simple as get your kids to eat their vegetables right. That sells. You're making a proposition. And somebody's going to have the greater level of influence in that discussion. So we appreciate you guys watching. Some of you have stayed on the whole time. We greatly appreciate you. We got more comments, people saying they're interested. And so we'll definitely put the link to that in the comments. Like I said, message you, send that to you. We'll try to figure it out because we know some of you that are listening are also in the same tribe that we're in, and we don't want to conflict with some of the other events that you have coming up in the next week, but we're definitely going to make it happen. And we really want to help you. So I have nothing else. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And thank you so much, Damian, for partnering with me and bringing to the community and those I serve, as well as your community and then our common communities, open discussion about sales. So I'll leave you with the final word before we log off.
So friends, my final word is this, is that it's a learnable skill. And as with all skills, when you first start learning it, it feels a little clunky at first, but I promise if you just give it a go, if you just stick with it, if you recognize that this could be the key turning point to your business, even if you're in the corporate space, let me be very clear, right? Even if you're in a corporate space, a nonprofit space, you may not be selling a physical product, but you may be selling an idea. You need to be influential inside of your workplace so that your people will buy your ideas. It doesn't always have to be a tangible product, but you need to increase your influence. We can help you. And the webinar that we're going to do is going to help you. You will get value for your time. And, in advance, here's what I'll tell you. I'll say you're welcome in advance, because I guarantee you when you come, you're going to end up saying thank you. So yes, you're welcome. We'll see you at the webinar. So if you're interested, post a link in the comments, and Angela and I are going to come. And listen, when I come, I don't come halfway. I am bringing my A game. So if you thought I had a lot of energy here, wait till you get me in this context where I have free reign to just go. And so I'm going to bring you my A game, guarantee it. Test me on it.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you that I do a lot of trainings with Damian. He is, when it comes, look, everybody has their sweet spot and what they're passionate about, and this is definitely it for him. He is my go-to person when it comes to sales. So thanks, everybody. We appreciate the comments, and those of you who want more information, we'll be in touch soon. Have a great rest of the day.
All right, bye-bye.